Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this third day of exclusive workshop on small offices, home offices to go digital. We at SolworxS are focused on helping spread the awareness for the small offices or home offices, how they can go digital, and what all the critical things they have to look at when they are going to new area of digital. Uh, and we are just starting and we already see some mischief by someone. So I think if someone is not interested, they can leave the presentation. Please do not disturb the people who are interested to learn. uh, I'm trying to clear the talk. 1 second. Okay. Sorry for that. Okay. So today is the third day and we are focusing on an important function called team. Typically, looking at the concern, this is a point of concern because by nature and by virtue, a small office, the home or a home office, the only strong point is a small team that delivers, that stands all the time and delivers. And now, when you go digital, you have to take utmost care for the team so that they are aware of what is expected and what is the new wave or new trend, and they have to be ready for it. This is Mani Lakaraju, founder of SolworxS, and we are into no-code solutions. We already done hundreds of applications in no-code for various small offices, and we help awareness of this no-code to all the founders and entrepreneurs. Our objective of this workshop is to spread the awareness of how to build a simple app, knowing a lot of considerations when you go digital. So I'll be starting the presentation now. Today we have, as I said, we have completed two sessions. First, on fourth, we have discussed about the basics of sales flows, how you have to look at sales flows and designing your solutions. And on yesterday, we have looked at product flows, how we have to look at designing the product flows when you are deciding for going digital for your small office, home office. Today, we'll be looking at team flows. Again, the request or the kind of disclaimer or whatever I would like to say, this workshop is conducted to spread the awareness of how things can be done in the best interest of going digital. And we have taken this presentation from a 20,000 feet level of your actual business situation. So please do not directly map this experience, whatever you understand here, directly to your business situations you are going on the ground. But you can look at as a case study for you to take it back and look at how you can bring that kind of a change more towards the digital side. So that's one thing I would like to explain. And also, my bad, this slide has not been properly done. I'm very sorry for that. Um, I actually did some changes, but it didn't show up. Okay, anyhow, I'll cover that today. So our focus today is more on team flow. The team flow is typically looking at all the various things a small office or a home office would love to do for their teams and trying to go digital. And I would like to start with the statement: teamwork is the ability to work towards a common vision. And that's exactly we'll try to see how we can bring that common vision when we try to develop that kind of an overall ecosystem by going digital. And similarly, coming together is just the beginning. So this is the where you have to look at and you have to start. And then as you go forward, you might improve a lot of things for your teams and all. But there should be a start for everything that you do. And that's what we would like to present the awareness of how you can start and how we can start it better. Let's go into the presentation. Okay, what are the key challenges for the teams when they go digital? The first and foremost challenge I would see, which is of a bigger size than what you can understand, is more of a disconnected world. The reason I'm saying it is of a disconnected world, we could quickly understand what has happened to our business with this COVID. So already we have taken a situation where we are choosing to go online by chance or by choice or whatever. So this is how the concept of COVID has given us some learnings on how we can take it forward. But the concept, the point of disconnected world here is like when we start going digital, as we discussed in the previous sessions, sales is one function which has its own data. Similarly, product is one function which has its own data. Similarly, teams might require some additional information to work for their own jobs or for their own completion of their own tasks. So when you look at it all together, the sales team might be working in this old world, the product team might be working in their own world, or typically for a small teams, all this goes in a very different manner. So that's how it is like disconnected. So unless until you touch base with your team constantly all the time, you will not get the complete updated information. This is also so relevant in your offline world currently. Now when you go digital, this disconnect will become bigger. It will become bigger to the size of a world, where it has a lot of new other challenges that it can bring, like could be awareness, lack of knowledge, not clear on what is expected to do, there is no clarity. So all these kind of things will make the world really disconnected. So understand, this is the first thing that team experiences when we say we are going digital. So we have to consider this as a very important aspect. Second one is the lack of information. Most often, when we go digital, a lot of times, depending on the situation, we may not cover all the information as it is we used to do in offline. Maybe in the offline, we might have be doing the transaction or the kind of information or information sharing to customer in, let's say, sequence of 10 steps. Now, once we go digital, we applied some creative techniques, we applied some kind of creative dialogues on it, and we have reduced it to 3 steps. But the team has to be aware of this change, because if the app or whatever the digital change suddenly reaches the team and this online transformation is not clear to them, the team will definitely go haywire and they will not know what exactly has to do or where to start or where to end. So when you do this online transformation of your digital process, ensure you are taking the feedback or the very little feedback of your team into consideration. Most of times we ignore that little feedbacks, saying that okay, that can be managed, but that itself becomes a bigger task later when you actually roll out this online process. So online transformation is a bigger issue, and lack of information of that is going to create a big challenge. And going forward with this kind of digital change, there is some kind of job security that puts most of your team on low confidence. Like they might be something about doing a kind of a book work, or they might be doing a lot of help. They might be doing everything, but not a specific job. So these are the people who get directly impacted on this curve of confidence, and they will definitely have the issues on how long the job is going to stay or what are the challenges, how it can be taken care. So consider those kind of feedbacks also into mind, and try to ensure, let's say you have 2 or 3 different roles in the offline, try to create similar amount of roles. Don't discount some roles, like you have a manager, you have an approver, and you have a worker, when you go online, don't say just we have a manager and a approver. Then the worker directly understands, oh, my role is not there, so I might lose a job. So somewhere or somehow it starts. So it puts immediately in a low confidence. So ensure that you take care of this little thing. And next one is like online is always a newbie, like technology upgrade. See, we when most of the time founders try to design the online process or the apps or anything, we might definitely miss some uh, assumptions or some kind of features which we take it into our assumptions. Everyone will work with their smartphone, everyone will have a laptop, everyone can be given a desktop, everyone can be given devices. But what if the device is not that great or that user friendly? In the sense, your staff only knows how to operate on Windows, and just because the laptops are available in a good offer for Linux, we brought them the Linux laptops. So then it will take a training curve for the employees to actually understand, or the team to actually understand and adjust to this technology upgrade. So just don't quickly decide on the flows. Also look at these kind of little technology related issues to take into consideration. And even today, most of the founders who want to go online, who are like essentially offline so far, they are still not confident or comfort about the Zoom call. Still, a lot of people have a lot of issues on this Zoom call, and they are going to take care only after you give them the comfort level. So that is another important aspect. So like this, there are various assumptions we might get into, but you have to take care of all those assumptions. And the last and most important one, which is also relevant for today's kind and the post-COVID kind, it is more like the rise of 247. In the sense, most of the companies will be going post-COVID more for a 24 by 7 job contract mode. And that is the new gig economy the world is already talking about. 9 to 6 is going to be taken backseat, and almost it will be taken off the shelf. So 9 to 6 kind of limitation, 9 to 6 kind of mindset, 9 to 6 kind of jobs are going to go. The new jobs are going to come, which is purely 24 by 7 kind of job contracts that is going to trigger the gig economy. So in this situation, uh, the most important thing we have to understand is we have to get ready more on a request mode or a help mode, always available for the team. So once we get onto this 24 by 7 job contract mode, and we start looking at putting some kind of conditions or limitations, most of the employees might actually, or teams might actually leave the job. And similarly, there is complete death of hierarchy. That is what is going to be. A lot of teams will become flat most often. And that is what it's going to drive because of these job contracts. And this is also another important aspect, that is a new learning from COVID situation, which entrepreneurs or founders has to consider before they focus on the flows or going digital flows for their team. Now, to sum up, what are the do's and what are the don'ts? See, typically the do's are first try to talk to your teams about why going digital is more a awakening call. Tell them what is it in it for the company for to go digital, how it will benefit the company to go digital, and why this is the time to go digital. So you have to have a very clear thought and understanding with your team on the big picture, and ensure they got the big picture very clear. That's the time when they feel more secure of the company or the team or the job or whatever they are up to, and they also realize now it's the time to focus and get the job done. So this is a very important do that we have to ensure. And then we have to also ensure of continuous training. Continuous training in the sense there should be always a facility or a help given to employees or teams where they can always go and brush their knowledge or keep improving their knowledge, either about the products or the catalogs, new additions to the products, new additions to the services, or more about the online process. What exactly is the process? How the process is going to change? Like as we seen on sales day and the product day of the workshop, there will be definitely changes in the processes. So those processes have to be continuously trained, because you cannot take a one assumption that it's the same process and the people will adapt to it. Maybe they will adapt, but still they will have that kind of initial hesitation to take it on and work by giving full commitment to the process side. So that is also very important. And we also have to continuously train people to understand and take feedbacks. It is not like most of the times when you say some kind of statements or anything to your teams, it might actually give them a more of a negative vibe. So we have to train our teams to take feedbacks, to understand feedback, to take feedback. Not everything is more like given as a statement or some kind of a negative thing against them. It's more of a feedback. So we have to be a little focused on enabling this kind of feedback mechanism into place, and we have to train our employees to understand what these feedbacks are coming, and also aware of dependencies, what the employees or the teams are going through. So typically when you go digital, there are situations when the teams will have challenges on timing. Like for example, a task has to be completed on a time by 4 p.m. Maybe the employee or the team completes by 6 p.m. Don't look at why the delay of 4 to 6 p.m., but look at and try to understand why the timing he has done like that. There could be some kind of a genuine reason, or else why would he do that? So we have to get into more of that kind of an approach, and that's where it helps the team to stick around for a bigger picture. Similarly, we should also understand the kind of devices they are managing, the kind of knowledge they have about the devices, the kind of connectivity issues they have, the kind of upgrades they are up to about the devices. Getting onto Zoom call could look a very simple thing. But 2 days back, I was talking to one founder who is from a remote side, remote place, and he was also worried about the internet, the connectivity, how he has to set up Zoom, how he has to enable his PC, how he has to face the online call when he's facing the Zoom. His presentation, his way of sitting in front of Zoom call, his way of communicating in the Zoom call. So there are a lot of issues that he felt is a challenge to him. But after I spoke to him, uh, he understood, like, yeah, this is the way to go, and he has to learn certain things uh, to practice so that he'll get. So again, just thinking that the devices are smart and they would be able to do it. Yes, definitely they will be able to do it, but we have to also understand the complete situation. In the same way, don't try to push too much on the place or the situation. Definitely, we have to encourage them, we have to train them to always get into a meeting from a calm place or a place where there is no enough disturbance. And if there is any disturbance, we have to tell them how to build these kind of etiquettes on presenting themselves on a Zoom call or any kind of a call. Similarly, the situation. Most of the times, teams, when they go digital, they try to behave in a different way, or the trend we see in a different way, we assume because of the liberty they are taking. But it could be also of the situation they are in. Sometimes people might be attending from the same room where other members in the family are also taking some calls. So this is a possibility of the situation, especially in this COVID and post-COVID, or maybe in the future as well, when the 24/7 jobs try to take the world. So these are the things we have to understand. We have to be aware of the dependencies, and we have to take care as part of the tools. Now, going on the don'ts, we should change our mindset to remove this kind of push factor. Like let's not get into the concept of deadlines. Uh, Definitely, the deadlines are required, but instead of talking on that, let's try to build it in some kind of a flow or a process which can give them the realization than getting into more of a questioning or unwanted discussion that can put on a most negative vibe. So this is one important aspect of creativity that can be looked at to cover these don'ts. Similarly, we have to clear the clutter all the time. Let's not expect every content we share to the team. It is absolutely understood and it will sink into their mind just like the way we have designed the content. It may not be. So we have to literally understand what is that we are sharing with the team and try to double check they got the connect with the content and they are ready to go. And also avoid sharing bulk text and that too in the rush hour. Like anytime we are trying to look at uh, some progress of a task, let's not uh, put more rush in the task, because let the team understand it and finish the task. Give the task or the rush or the deadline more as a creative way so that they will get that realization and try to deliver. And also we have to avoid bulk text forwards or anything that can come to them. Just saying that, I mean, this is a trend I've seen. A lot of people, teams, some small officers who work on WhatsApp, they just forward the entire list of things on WhatsApp, and they expect the team to go through each and every kind of update and work on it. That is good to have, but on a long run, it will not work, because again, we know WhatsApp is like a bigger kind of a place where a lot of information is there, and it is very difficult for the team to proactively look at what they have done, and there could also be errors or mistakes or confusion that could result. And also we have to avoid a lot of ad hoc tasking. Ad hoc tasking is another bigger thing that we would have been doing in the offline, assuming like we would have taken the team for a particular work, but we might also be asking the team to do a lot of other works. So that is happening more and more. Try to structure it, but not make it more a ad hoc task. So this is what the focus of entrepreneurs, to clear the clutter when we go digital and keeping team in mind. And finally, let's not have any generic rules when it goes online. Let it be very specific and focused to the teams who has to pick up the task and who have to deliver the task or who have to do the task. So there is nothing like somebody or everybody who will do the job, which means actually nobody is going to do the job. So let's avoid that kind of a generic rule. If something has to be given on online as a task, let's be very specific. Let's assign the person or whoever it is, and let them understand, let them do. So these are the typical do's and don'ts we have to understand purely from a team perspective. And this is at a very high level, not specific to any business or any industry sector, to consider what has to be done before the digital wave happens. And next is more of the things to do. Okay, now we understood the do's and don'ts and what is that we have to do. When we go digital, the first thing always people might require at any point of time is a user directory, meaning whom to contact, when to contact, how to contact, their email, their phone number, at least for the employees or the vendors or all the people who work in the line of business related to the business should be available at one place. So, and the employee should have access. That will actually make them reach out whenever they need help. And that's exactly will create a lot of sync and synergy in the entire system, or else people might be waiting for you even to reach out to the vendors or try to take the task to the next level. Second, whatever we try to do little things, let's try to keep it process driven so that the flow, whatever we're trying to build, can actually give a greater amount of satisfaction for the team. Like I have onboarded 10 customers. I have activated 5 applications. I have verified 3 approvals. So these are the kind of things uh, the teams can really take a satisfied work done end of the day. And that can only be achieved by a process driven approach. So try to build more of that. And another best way of fixing a lot of coordination and collaboration is by introducing a simple concept of ticketing. Ticketing is a very great solution, and it works across the business, including it can consider vendors, it can consider everyone who is linked to the entire ecosystem of the business. Uh, I will just like to state one example here. Let's say I'm looking to for a travel ticket or something. Typically, what I do is like I raise a ticket to my vendor, and I expect my vendor. So when I raise a ticket to my vendor in my system, it automatically triggers an email to my vendor with all the details where I would like to travel and how things would like to do. And my vendor would work on it and share me the receipt of the ticket by email. Or in an offline mode, I have to actually call him, I have to verify, he will share some details, I'll give some details. And at end of the day, I'll spend almost like half a day trying to plan just the ticket. Then my entire half day's work, I have to again restart and redo it. But if I have a simple ticketing concept, I can actually raise a request to the travel vendor and he will get the needful done and he'll share it in an email. So if it is not required, I can still connect on an email and it just takes me a little time for the reply. So that's how this is a very great tool that can help small offices or small teams. It could be also like my sales team has reached the customer and the customer is not ready to meet the sales guy, or he is expecting a different product than whatever we have shared. So the sales guy, instead of calling back or taking his decision, he could just raise a ticket to his team saying that I was at this place, at this customer place, and we couldn't get a meeting. So I'm raising a ticket for this new information the customer has requested. So if you share me this information, I could actually go and revisit him. And in the meantime, I'll try to figure out. So you can just write this in a simple ticket and share it to the relevant person. And the relevant person who receives this update can quickly send the required information to him by email. So this is the power of implementing a simple and very effective and efficient ticketing process in the overall flow for the teams. And see, and the next important thing is ensure your team always feels that it's a simple work. Though they have to follow a process, though it is done on a digital side, though it has to capture a lot of data and all, but try to always be creative in giving them kind of simple work. And the best way is like, if, let's say there are 5 steps to do. If you can give those 5 steps easily visible on the app or on the platform, then it will be easy for them to understand how they have to look at and what is that kind of small work they have to finish, and it can be done. And last one is like make your team resourceful. What I mean by saying that is anything your team is working on a particular task, or irrespective of whatever the job size or the kind of role, whatever they are playing, they should not wait for the entrepreneur, or they should not wait for a decision. They should not wait for completing a status. They should not wait for fetching information. They should not wait for seeking information. They do not wait for transforming information. They should not wait for processing the task. So when you build an app in such a way, or you give them some information in such a way, uh, then they feel resourceful, and whatever the simple work they do, they will be process driven and they will be extremely satisfied by end of the day, and they can do tremendous amounts of work just by understanding this resourcefulness. And another important thing what I observed is when a user or a team finds himself resourceful, then he feels extremely confident of taking challenging work as well. Let me share an example. Let's say if I'm trying to buy a TV or a computer on Amazon, and I try to go and look for things on Amazon, Amazon doesn't let me down. It shows me various products, it shows me various offers, then it actually connects me to the options of delivery. It also tells me various modules. It also helps me various other things. And finally, when it comes to the payment, it also connects me with various options. So I am actually felt whatever I need, I find that in that flow, and I'll finish the job and I'll finish the purchase. So that is the power of making your team resourceful. So ensure whatever is the simple task, let it be a simple task. Keep the task as simple as you can and make them resourceful. Then they will definitely follow the process driven. They will be extremely satisfied end of the day. And also you have to take care of these dependencies like understanding mobile access from a web or access more in a hybrid model, like could be from a desktop or a laptop and all these kind of things. And also expect your data to be available more in a Google Drive or any kind of a public cloud. If it is not there, try to make it available so that it's easy, so that all these dependency kind of things that I'm sharing will make your team more resourceful, and they can actually start working on. So these are the things that we have to do, making our teams more aligned,